Get my facials together.
There it goes.
Facial person like.
Hello, 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 hello. Marriage Monday.
Marriage Monday.
We are so glad that you are with us today. Want you to go ahead and invite somebody to be a part of this part 2 with the Bowens.
Hello, hello.
So glad to have the Bowens with us again for part 2. So if you want to go ahead and share, if you enjoyed last week, you definitely want to be a part of the discussion this week. So go ahead and share, invite, start a watch party on your page.
Yeah.
Part 2 with the Bowens.
Watch party.
I'm excited.
Now, we are now sharing, everyone. That's what we do. Sharing is caring. Where did we learn that first? Did we learn that first with Barney? I think that was Barney.
I think so.
Maybe so.
Yeah, sharing, caring. Mm-hmm.
Tim's trying to find it on his phone.
I don't have.
He's ready to sound the bell.
There I go. All right.
I see my mama. I'm keeping up.
That's why you gotta keep mama up, because mama.
That's right.
You can't be keeping up with live stuff now. Come on.
Hey, Mama Minnie.
Yes.
Gotta be seen. That's
Oh.
So, for those of us who are first time joining us, I'm Pastor Leon Lady Tomika Bell. We're right here in Mobile, Alabama.
Yes.
We do Marriage Mondays. Invite a new married couple to come in and share their marriage story, how they got to where they are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we have with us for the second week in a row, our first repeat couple. It's the Bowens.
The Bowens.
Right, Bowens, for those who did not see last week, let's hear a little bit about you. How long you been married? How many kids you have?
Well, I'm gonna let her tell that story because she said I was long-winded last time. So go ahead.
And everybody fussed at me. They said he was not long-winded. He's just detailed. I like that adjective.
Yeah.
We met in college. We told those stories last week, and at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
And we were married in 2000. We've been married 19 years. We'll be celebrating 20 in November. And we have 4 children. Timothy is our oldest. He's 19. He's a freshman at the University of Alabama, finishing up his freshman year. And then we have Taylor, who is 16. He's a sophomore in high school. Tanner is 10, and he's a 4th grader. I know he would be so upset if I almost said he was 9. And then Callie is 5, and she's finishing up preschool. And so we kind of had 2 sets of kids. We have our older 2, and then we have the littles.
Yes.
We know that story.
Yeah, we do.
We got the older set and then Josh.
Yep.
Now you named all your kids, and we heard about the kids, but you forgot your oldest.
I did, and we brought him.
You have to, if you wasn't here last week, you got to go back and find out TJ's story.
Right. TJ was a hit. I've heard so many comments about TJ, so I was like, we got to bring TJ out. He was really our first, yes.
TJ is here.
He's still hanging around. He's still alive, I guess.
TJ's like, I'm here. I am.
Yes, he is.
So first of all, thank you again for agreeing to join us again this week.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a true blessing just reading the comments from your story. We talked a lot last week, and it was just eye-opening for a lot of great couples, and we got such a great response from that. Today we're gonna talk about family, like just the family life and the balance in the Bowens household. You know, I got married and started preaching the same year.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Same, like
so
2 months.
I
2 months
proposed to my
apart.
wife January 25th, and then I did my initial sermon January 31st.
That's right.
And then I was married April the 9th.
Yeah.
It was like, so it went from just me and
Wow.
my son, because I had a son, she had 2 boys. So for me and my son to me, a wife, and now 3 sons.
Yes.
And then preaching and ministry, and it was like a juggling act that I was losing terribly.
Yes. It was something.
Wow.
It was.
So-
and in between that, we planned a big wedding.
Yeah,
We did. We didn't have a small wedding.
So
So
it was,
we planned a big
you
wedding.
know, a juggling act that I lost. And I told him, and then, not to mention that in our first year of marriage, we found out she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So emotions, and we only dated 6 months. So we
Yes.
only dated, we only known each other for 6
We
months.
didn't really date.
We
Wow.
went on one date, and then I proposed to her.
Wow.
Like that.
When you know, I get high when you know.
So we get married, and now I'm trying to learn the woman I married. We didn't date a lot, and
Mhm.
she's also pregnant. So there's a whole lot going on there.
Yeah.
Hard time balancing and juggling. So how was that for you all? Because I know when you finished college and then you started a family immediately, and then you finished in school your last year,
Mm-hmm.
then getting in your career. So how did that start out for you?
Mhm.
You know what? I want to hear
I
from
love
Tim
his face.
first.
I love Tim's face. Tim was like,
Hear from
Yeah.
Tim first. Like,
You know something good is coming.
I talk to a lot of husbands, and one thing that's kind of becomes
Yeah.
the theme with all the husbands, the man, you know, the responsibility of being a husband, a provider, a protector, and at the same time keeping you cool.
oh,
So how was that for you?
Well, I tell you, I think when you know, the scripture talks about when the two come together, the man leaves his family and becomes one with his wife. And, you know, I always was told too, you know, you better have a daughter because your boys will leave you and they won't come back. But if you have a daughter, she'll take care of you. So,
Right.
you know, we had a daughter at the end, so I guess she's gonna take care of me because the boys usually leave you and they gone, you know. They gone with they
I have all
wives,
those
you know, folks, and they be gone, you know. But you kind of got a different situation. But yeah, but we, you know, just starting out, I think that you know, everybody wants that fantasy of dating, and of course we knew each other for years in college, and you heard some of our stories, but you know, I think sometimes you want to have that official, I've been engaged, I'm my fiance, and all of that, and the time. And some people need that time. Some people need a date, and they need that time. You know, I've always, you know, always told that you date to marry, you know, but I've taken on the form of marrying the date, you know. So I think when you do get to a point like you guys and us and how we were married at a little bit quicker time, you have to really know. I mean, you have to know. I knew that she was a type of young lady that I would marry, and having that conversation with my friend Bernard, and just, you know, we talked about, you know, what type of person that she was, you know, and to me, you know, usually, you know, when you got friends, there's certain people, you know, when you date in high school, I mean, when you're in college and you kind of doing your thing or whatever, you don't talk about certain people, you know, but for somebody's name to come up, you're like, okay, nah, that may be something. And then I can remember in college, I guess, going to a wedding. Her cousin got married. I went to her cousin's wedding as well, and we still got that picture, I think.
We do.
And just knowing, I think when you know, you kind of be past, you know, that you know, and this is the type of woman that you would spend the rest of your life with. And then there's some that, you know, that I was friends with, acquaintances with, or dated, and you just like, I don't know, you know. So we try to, especially young men that's with me every day, I try to, you know, tell them, you know, make sure that you're looking at young ladies that you would like to, you know, date seriously, because you're now getting at that age where, you know, life can turn on you very, very fast. So, but go ahead, you can talk about our experience.
When he was talking, that made me think of another funny little story from college. You know how they say you shouldn't break the girl code or the guy code.
Right.
And if, you know, one of your friends likes a guy or is dating them, you know, is hands off, you cannot, you know, pursue that, or, you know, have any interest or whatever. And so within our group, you know, I had seen Tim and I thought he was cute. We saw him, I remember, and one of his good friends, and he was one of his teammates and one of his roommates. His name is Jason Jones, and he's a coach now too.
Just give Jason
Hey,
a shout out.
Jason. But we would most of my friends were the same year as him. They were there a year ahead of me. And so they had seen them. And so then I saw them, and I remember they had already nicknamed him and Jason Sexy and Sexy Chocolate. And I was like, I gotta see these guys. And so one of the
Time out.
Just fast here now. Hold on. You tell your mom online still?
Hold up. So you remember last week when she was, when you first met her senior year, she wasn't trying to but now her freshman year.
Yeah, once it was the influence of my friends.
That's right.
They had come up with those names and they told me, but anyway, there was a girl kind of in our friend group, and she was not kind of one of my core closest friends, like, maybe the 5 or 6 of us that were in a group. She was, you see, I'm setting this up. She was kind of, we would kind of hang out together, eat, at the dining hall together, kind of hang out. And so she had mentioned at some point that she liked him and she was, maybe interested in, I don't know, trying to go out or something. And I was like, so then it was almost like girl code, like, well, if she likes him, then nobody else should, Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, she ain't really one of my close friends.
She don't really count.
And I can't, like, I'm gonna have to just kick girl code out of the picture for this one. But that just goes back to when
You just liked him, right?
Well, yeah, I was like, wait, I can see a future here. And I just knew. And so now I don't feel as bad about that because now it's been, over 20 years that I've known him. And clearly it was the right choice to not let that hold me back from,
That's right.
letting something develop.
So then after getting married and then, of course, starting a family right out of the gate, how did that all come together?
Well, I think, first of all, she went back to school. She was pregnant. She went back to school. So she lived in Tuscaloosa. I was living in Florence, Alabama. So we were 2 hours apart our first year.
I went back to school in August. Actually, no, I was not. Well,
She was out for a year.
We got married in November and I had 1 semester left. I would have graduated the following May, but because Timothy was born in February, I took that semester off.
Gotcha.
And I had him, stayed home. And my plan was, you know what? I'm just going to transfer and go to school somewhere local so that I can be here with my husband and my child, make this work. I went to Athens State University, which is where my parents went. And I was going to try to see if I could transfer there, finish up. And they were going to have me take too many hours. I had to have a certain number of hours in classes for it, to be able to graduate. Yeah. And so we went back home and my mother was like, you've been to Alabama for 3.5 years. It is your dream to graduate from there and to have been there all that time and then graduate and have a degree from somewhere else. That's not what you want. She was like, we can make it work. Go see if they'll let you back into the teacher program. Just all you have to do is student teach. I cried, for a week straight. I was and they let me back in, which was awesome, and set me up with a student teaching, the school.
Wow.
Wonderful. I'm still friends with the teacher that I worked with. She actually sees Timothy in Tuscaloosa sometimes and will send me a picture. It worked out perfectly as in, getting back in school, but I was so upset because I was leaving my new little family. And so he moved back to Florence. He was living with his parents that fall semester. I was in Tuscaloosa. I moved in with my sister in Tuscaloosa because she was in school there. And Timothy stayed with my parents.
Oh, wow.
And so I would leave school every Friday, drive to Decatur, pick up Timothy, and go to wherever his football game was and be at his game Friday night. We'd spend all day Saturday, Sunday together. And I would wait as long as I could. And then I would drive back to Tuscaloosa on Sundays. And I have never counted down so fast to finish a semester in my life. But I feel like we've always had that in our relationship of having to you know, move or adapt to being apart and still making it work from the very beginning. So
That's how we started. And
yeah.
I think every transition that we've made as far as coaching, I've had to wait for the family to come. And we started out marriage that way. I can remember when we first got married and I told her that I was going to be coaching, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I know I'm supposed to be doing this. So if this is what you want to be part of, then we good. If not, then you probably don't want to be, you probably don't want to do this. But anyway, she says, this is all I know. This is all I've ever known in my whole life because her dad played professional baseball. So she said, the moving part and the family being back and all of that. And I knew, transitions happen in coaching and just the coaches that I had in my life that was teaching me just kind of the ropes and how coaching was. And we ended up starting out life together that way of not being together, which it was tough. It was tough.
Very hard.
We spent a little time together and then it was time to go and we were apart. And then just knowing that even my son, he was in Decatur with my mother-in-law, there she was again, right there. When I say,
mother-in-law gets the MVP.
Shout out to Miss
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. And she took care of him. She literally had him by herself for days, by herself.
Those first few months.
For the first few months.
Yeah. And then when I graduated in December, I worked by that time, he was about to get the new job at Tanner High School in Tanner, Alabama, which was near my hometown. It's where my dad grew up and went to school. And so I worked at a little boys and girls club there for the spring. And then I got my first teaching job that summer. And so I started teaching first grade that fall. And I'm telling you, we had our new little apartment and it was so nice because I was teaching, he was coaching. I'd go by and drop Timothy off at my mother's house every day. And after school, she had cooked every day and we'd either eat at their house or we'd pick some up and take it home. So it was nice, that family support.
It is. I will say that my mom, of course, you guys know she passed 5 years ago, and me now being a first lady, now she had so much that I do miss. But I know that one little aspect of what are we cooking, what day, when. I love to cook. I can cook anything, but it's my time.
Yes.
I know that my mom, if she were alive, that would not be a problem. I'd be like, Mom, it's Saturday. Are you cooking Sunday dinner? We'll be over there.
Right. So nice.
I'll be there. That I will say that's the one thing I know I miss is that support. Oh my gosh.
And especially I felt like for me with, because a coaching career is so time consuming, but also I'm trying to get, my first year of teaching is so much you have to do and prepare and so much time you have to put in, and then having a little one. So yeah, it's nice not to have that on your plate too. So yeah, that helped us out a lot.
Yeah, thank God for family, because if we didn't have family at that time, I mean, just even during that time, we were struggling financially. I ain't gonna say struggling, but we were getting in our careers, and sometimes you get bad advice, but you think life pertains this and this and this, so you're going through life and you're just normal, and all of a sudden I wake up and one day I'm driving to work, and my first year, when she came back, I was driving to Florence. I was driving back every day, and I'm like, Lord, some got to give, because it was like diapers and Pampers and this and that and this, and I'm like, what? I mean, we ain't saving a dime. Like, what the world? And so I was like, it was just like money was just moving out the window. It seemed like so. I just remember one day I'm like, we woke up and we were $1,500 in debt, and it was $2,000 in debt and $3,000. I was like, what in the world? Like $5,000. And I'm like, I got to figure out where's the money going? Like, what are we doing? Just rent, gas, normal stuff, and I was just like, man, $5,000. I'm like, we just started life, and with just stuff that we needed and had to have and do. And one day I'm just driving on the road, and I guess it's one of these another moments where I'm praying, and that was one thing that I tried to do, was pray on my way, that hour drive, and just kind of get my head clear. And I was like, Lord, something got to give. We got to figure out, we got to stop the bleed here. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what are we doing? What are we? And ultimately it was just us getting on the same page about our finances. And and we were listening. I was listening to a guy. He came on. His name was at the time it was Dave Ramsey, and I listened to that, and he was just talking about getting out of debt and doing these things that I was just like, I ain't never heard of none of this stuff before. But it was very simple. And I'm not giving him a plug, but I'm saying like we just were not on the same page.
Yeah.
We'll give it to him. I mean, David's hilarious, but
we were just not on the same page. And I think sometimes even when you go to church at times and you can be under a pastor, you can be under somebody and not truly know about budgeting, sowing, and saving and what that looks like and how to do it. Because a lot of times we just look and see what other people have done or what our families have done, and we try to emulate those things, and we've not really been taught those things. So for me, it was eye opener to make sure we get our footing on a good playing field. I mean, even at the point of when we were maybe our fourth year of marriage, maybe fourth year of marriage. It was in 2003, 4, something like that. You know, everybody had power windows, you know.
That was toward the beginning.
So we had a car. I bought a car, but I had a plan, and so
my sisters they made fun of me. I know Nish is here.
I rolled up my window. I rolled down my window.
They made fun of us.
Yes, they did.
I said, but we won't be here always.
That's right.
Yeah, Lord.
And up from here, we start at the bottom, but we going up.
Sis, what you driving, sis?
Right. We had a Sentra and a little Altima. Oh, it was a Prism.
It was a Prism.
and an Altima.
Yeah, it was a Prism.
Yeah.
And so we drove that thing and we rolled the window up manually. And I would say, you know what? Make fun of me now, okay?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's just and for us, you know, delayed gratification, I guess, or the thought process of, you know what, you know, do we have to have that right now? Or yes, we want that, but let's save to make sure we're trying to get that. But in the same breath, let's make sure we're sowing and we're saving and we're spending wisely. So, you know, we began to just get on the same page. I think that's, if you can just get on the same page in marriage, you begin to move your marriage and your finances, your relationships, your life so much further. You know, I think in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says 2 can accomplish more than one. When one falls, the other one picks them up. So, you know, the coming together, house divided won't stand. So when you got that togetherness, you can do about anything. The tower and the Babel, you know.
Yeah.
Just building the tower, all the people are on the same page together. You know how much you can do and accomplish when you just do things together. And they weren't even believers. So what happened when you get a 2 believing household, a husband and a wife together, and on the same page?
Preach.
Yeah. So we began to move a lot of things and go in a lot of direction, and you know, just for the future, for our children and so forth, so we can just put ourselves in better positions than maybe we were taught or whatever. But you know, obviously we know a lot of people can have a lot of money and still be bad the finances. So we want to be faithful over the few that we have. So that being said, I think that was probably one of our toughest things in our marriage starting out too, as a young couple, you know, getting going was our finances and getting on the same page about what that looks like.
So how was that getting on the same page? Because I know we've done day rounds before, and you have the free spirited and the nerd.
So I'm the nerd.
The free spirit is the one like just spin, and the nerd is one that budgets. So how was that getting on one accord with the finances?
Well, I'll say, you know, Kesha, she kind of, when she got to the point where she felt like I knew what I was doing, she was kind of like, you got it, you know, type of deal. But I wanted her to be involved in it because sometimes I was like, no, I want your opinion. She was like, no. And it was just like, I'm not asking you to build a rocket ship here. Let's just put a number by the utilities, you know, let's do this. And I think for a year, one time you did
I took over.
a year or 2 years, you did it.
Then I was like, all right.
This back.
But,
like, okay, you can have it back.
But getting on the same page, you have to make sure that coming in your marriage that these are things that you want to do going forward. You just can't always take what my parents did and her parents did and try to bring that into it because, of course, her parents and mine probably thought, what they're doing, you know, because we still drive cars at a double-digit age, you know. Usually I tell Kesha, I'll say, we're going to go buy a car. I think we're going to start looking for a car. And
I learned this the hard way. The first time he ever said it, I was like, we are? Yay! I was so excited. I'm ready to go, the next day. But, it's like months and months, like looking and researching and saving. And so then I didn't get excited anymore when he would say that. I'd say, oh, okay.
So
because they
year
run
may go by.
day first.
That's right.
8 years go by. So I don't think we've had a car payment in, I don't know, 17 years. 16
Yeah.
Yeah, God. Yes.
So, yeah. So
Facebook, you better clap after that. I need you to
And
understand.
you need some hearts right there. Some hearts right
You
there.
put some hearts, some love,
Because
some likes.
that's a blessing.
Let me put my own hearts and loves and
You need
likes.
to know they've been married 19 years. So
Right.
what Bishop Coaches just said is that they only
Bishop
had a
Coach.
cardinal 2 years of their marriage.
Bishop Bowens just said it now. The apostle.
so if you got to go back and drive to prison with a roll-up window like we did.
Drive it.
I got them all muscles.
Help
Drive-
them.
we
Help
were
them,
able to take
Coach.
that car payment. We were able to take that car payment and try to put it in our retirement. So
That's
just
it.
for
That's
us,
it. That's it. I will never forget my first time hearing Dave. I was on my way to, and not plugging Dave, but we get it. I was on my way to a class at South, and I heard this guy on the radio. I didn't know who he was, but he was going in on this lady. She said she had 3 cars, only 2 drivers in her house. None of them were paid for, so she had a note on each one of them, but she was in debt. And she said, well, I just don't know what to do. He said, well, what you need to do is
Sell your car.
you need to sell all those cars. Why do you have, he was going in. He said, why do you have them? You only have 2 drivers. So, he can drop you off. If you have debt, you shouldn't have those cars. I was like,
oh,
man. And she was like, you want me to sell my cars? He was like, you cannot afford them. They're not even yours. Don't pay on them on 3 months, and they're gonna come get them. So
Right.
you need to give them back.
Yeah.
I was like, who is he? Who, Dave? And from that point on, I think it was like 2000. It was before we got married. So it was like 2007 or 8,
Mhm.
maybe 6 or 7 that I heard Dave for the first time. And so when he married me, he was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm used to just,
I never had a family before. I was used. I go get
He's
it.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, what are we gonna do? Like, we're gonna pay Alabama Power, and then you're gonna get those shoes later. So
Right.
So
nerd.
nerd,
I'm the nerd.
and I'm good with that. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
yeah, my wife, I'd say, she's kind of a mix of it all. She's frugal as well, but also remember her love language is gifts, but she's very, very, very good with finances and budgeting and making sure that that we do what we're supposed to do for the most part. She wants to, yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
And can I say, I feel like we have 2 different roles too in that, whereas I see him more as like the like, here's our vision, here's our plan, keeping us in line with that. And then I'm more down there in the, nitty gritty, day to day, like groceries. This is what we need for our kids. This is what they need for school,
Yeah,
So I see that part of it too. And I've got to figure out, and I'm doing all the, Christmas shopping. And so I'm like, all right, how can I take this? I feel sometimes like I'm with the loaves and the fish. Like, how can I take this and make a Christmas for everybody?
She does.
And I try to be thrifty.
You're very creative though, Miss Kesha. You are very creative.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm quite sure.
Oh yeah.
What can I make? What can I create? How can I stretch this? Because my love language is definitely gifts, but I like to give to people and create things and make things and not just go buy something or not just do a gift card, but what can I make? What can I create? So I think I've learned how to make it stretchy.
I love it.
Miss Minnie just said she really is. I was shocked when she was buying clothes from Walmart.
It's hilarious.
And you know what? When I got to college, and I'm gonna tell you, we grew up, and when he says we could not do what we both saw growing up, we couldn't just automatically come into a marriage like, well, this is how I grew up, this is how it's gonna be.
Yes.
And I always say, I think God was, he knew I was gonna end up with this frugal man. And so he went ahead and started preparing.
And he's tight. He's tight. Your aunt said that. Aunt Carolyn.
Oh,
Whoa,
yeah.
hey.
Aunt Carolyn is here.
He started,
Come on,
yeah,
Carolyn.
they're the
Me
little
and you-
dynamic
me and you,
duo.
Carolyn.
Right. She's usually on the same
Oh,
page
okay.
as you. But he started preparing me early. I'm telling you, I grew up, I got my hair done every week. I got my nails done. Whatever we wanted, my mother would just buy. I mean, you know, we didn't even really look at what it cost.
Mm-hmm.
We would go get clothes. We were like, when we were very little, me and my sisters would match. I mean, I was like 10 years old with a new Gucci bag. I mean, we just, that's
Just
just,
that a price. What price? What is that?
Right.
so we were just used to, you want it, you go get it. You just, you know. And so when I got to college, and I'm gonna just say, I, you know, would go to Walmart, but I had never bought any clothes from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friend, like I was in there with my friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these clothes they have in here. I don't even know if I've been in this section. I started buying like t-shirts and shorts, and I was like, wow. And my mother's like, you're shopping at Walmart? And I was like,
I ain't talking about your mama like that. Act like she. Come
no,
on,
I'm
man.
just saying.
Miss Carolyn already called out and said
Carolyn,
Miss
Auntie,
Minnie was not frugal at all.
No, she's not.
Auntie has said it. She wasn't frugal at all. And then Miss Minnie's like, at all.
She's not. And so that's how we grew up with, she's not frugal. We got whatever. But I could not have continued that. Or I would not have been in my marriage long at all. And I know that.
Well, I
I
know
won't begin to
So
long.
her dad told me when I asked for her hand in marriage,
Yeah.
he says, are you sure? You know what she's used to, right? You know, and at this time he just finished playing a couple years, you know,
Yeah.
out and everything. So he's like, all right, well, you know, just know that y'all got to do what works for y'all's marriage, you know, and he gave me that advice. And so, you know, it just, I remember him saying that, you know, are you sure? Because this is what she's used to. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I can't do what y'all did, and
Yeah.
and so
we
forth.
couldn't.
So, you know, that's why I say you got to get on the same page. You got to what works in your family, what
Yes.
works for you. And one thing that we do after years of being married, I will say, we start doing a vision. You know, just trying to, you know, casting the vision for our family every year. We do it from, you know, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, socially, or relationally, you know, like-minded people as well. So, and we kind of set a path that we try to go as a family, and what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. And part of our goal every year, or part of our vision every year, is what we're doing now is sharing with like-minded people who want to grow in their marriage, who want to be better. And so I think every year since then, we've been able to do that. We've been able to do that with, whether it's been my staff, you know, last year with the wives and husbands and all those things, or just people that we know that we've been able to help, or people we've married, just whatever the case may be. But, you know, part of that the vision that we cast every year financially, what we want to do, whether it's get out of debt, whatever we've casted up there, and if we want to purchase something, even, you know, the purchase of a home, you know, what we wanted to buy specifically, that we put in a deal that, you know, I think Pastor, I can't remember what Pastor V was preaching on the week, but he said, was it a love letter or something? I can't remember if it was a love letter, what we did that week, but it was about the vision board. And so Kesha filled out what we wanted, how many bedrooms we wanted, how many.
It was a seed we were sowing.
Seed we sowed. We sowed a seed. That's what
and we
it was.
named
Super
it.
Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And we named exactly what we wanted.
We named exactly what we wanted. Super Sunday seed. We put it on there, and we just believe in sowing and reaping. We believe in the principle, and so we put in there what we wanted, exactly what we wanted. Don't you know, we got exactly what we wanted, and we didn't spend a penny more. As a matter of fact, we spent less than what they were asking for the house we're in right now. They asked for a certain amount, and I was like, I just believe we need to be at this amount. And the realtor was saying, this is Georgia, it's close to Atlanta,
and this
neighborhood, we got to offer this, we got to be at least 20,000 over this, you know, whatever, 15, I can't remember what Dustin said, but you've got to be over, because they're getting offers in. And don't you know, we were the lowest offer, and they accepted our offer. And I sent a message.
And we were sitting in church.
We were sitting in church
when he texted us.
When we texted us. And I sent a message to Kesha. At least I thought I sent a message to Kesha. I said, no, I'm just hearing the Lord say, this is where this amount. This is the amount right here.
Mhm.
And I sent that to Kesha. At least I thought I did. I said, I just believe God and trust his word. But I sent it to the realtor. And I was like, oh, man. And the realtor threw up the thumbs up. He's like, but he was like, he was trying to get us to offer so much more than what we'd offer. And I said, we're staying right here. And and so we offered that amount, and they had other offers that came through, and they gave us the bid. We got the house. We got
the Lord.
4, the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms,
that's
garage, everything, the yard,
The area.
big yard, the area, everything. School system.
5 minutes from my school.
Look at there.
So,
Man,
if you don't trust, if you
do it.
I hope that right there just helps somebody.
That helps somebody. That helps somebody.
I hope you guys hearing this now.
Amen.
Listen, do what you need to do, people.
And so, speaking of that, so you put the bid in for the house you're in now.
Yes.
But before you got to the house you're in now, Miss Kesha lived in Mobile,
Oh,
and you lived
yes.
in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You the home on the weekend. So let's talk about the long distance marriage once again.
Once again. You know, and after that very first time, I was like, this is so hard. We're never doing this again. And then we've done it, you know, a few more times. Every time he has gotten a new job, you know, he usually leaves around January, February. Mm-hmm. And then we would come when school is over. So like when he went to Alabama, he went on to Tuscaloosa. We actually got a house. And then when I finished the school year, Timothy and I came the end of May. Same with Birmingham, same with Mobile, but they each were just a few months until we could get there when school was over. And so this last time was a little different because our oldest son was a senior. Mm-hmm. And I've just always felt like, you know, football kind of dictates our life because that's his career. And a lot of what we do revolves around football, even the way we have our babies. I had 4 C-sections. They've all been scheduled.
Because football season.
For football season. And even Callie, you know, she was born now, you know, we had a mental lapse and she was born in October during football season. But when they asked us what day, because they could do it on the 39th week, mm-hmm. my 39 weeks, they said, you know, which day of the week looks good for you? This is when these are the days he could do it. And Tim was like, well, let's see, let's do it on this night. And I think we ended up doing it, on a Thursday night, because that was your early night and the game was going to be home or whatever. It was or whatever. But it was only due to what the football schedule looked like. So as we talked about, you know, what we were going to do when he got the job in Georgia, and we knew Timbo was coming up on his senior year.
I'd interviewed for a couple of jobs, and some of those jobs were, across New York and across the country, that some other opportunities, but you know, this was probably Georgia was the best opportunity and closest that we felt that it was best for us here at the time at Georgia State University. So
and we just said, you know, if Timbo makes it to his senior year in a place, we really, because we've already moved, you know, several times, we really didn't want him to have to leave and start somewhere new his senior year. Mm-hmm. And I think what added to that was the type of personality that Timothy is. He is, of our 4, he is the one that is, you know, the most quiet and reserved and kind of takes a little longer maybe to warm up to a friend group and kind of has a small little friend group. And I thought, man, for him to start somewhere new his senior year, to have, you know, no memories there, the teachers haven't had him. And so anyway, you know, we had been in Mobile since his 8th grade year. And we thought, you know, he's been here with them almost as long as we were in Birmingham. So he has a lot of memories, some great friends, teachers who love him. And so we just decided, you know what, let's just stay. We're going to stay, let him finish school. And yes, we know it'll be hard. We've been here before, but we can make it work. And so that was our plan. That's what we did.
So I drove home
How
especially
long was this? A
this
year and a
was
half?
right at a little bit, about a year or so.
He left Valentine's weekend. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah,
that.
he left. They
You
had
left.
Coach Elliott. I got the job probably somewhere in January, and he said, "Hey, come next week." He said, "No. I'll tell you what. Come. No. He calls me back. Says, okay, no. Come after Valentine's Day. Spend time with your wife." And I appreciate that from Coach Elliott. He was a family. I mean, he was big on that. Now you don't. He said, "You spend time with your wife, then come after that. We got everything taken care of." So
Yeah.
I came back. I went there the weekend after
Valentine's
Day and
it
went
was
up
a
there.
year and a few months.
Yeah, and it just hit the ground
And
running. And like I said, I was up there, drove to Mobile, 5 hours every weekend during the spring. We practiced in the mornings early. We would be done meetings and everything by 1 or 2 o'clock. I'd jump in the car, take off, try to be home for dinner. On Fridays, be there with them all day. Saturday, be there with them Sunday, and back on the road Sunday night for 6 a.m. on Monday morning. So did that for a while. And during the season, if she could drive, they would drive up here to Atlanta. When I was in downtown Atlanta, drive up every weekend that they could come watch the game, or if we were, of course, the thing good about the Sun Belt was most of our games were not too far.
Yeah.
In the South, so she could drive and come and
like they played at Troy, and Timothy is so smart. He was like, "I'm gonna set up a college visit," because it was a Thursday night game. Right. So he was not counted absent from school because he had a college visit. So we went to the game Thursday night, college visit Friday during the day.
He's one of them students or kids too that he ain't gonna miss school. Like he trying to get an A, so. He's that guy too, probably if he would have had to miss a day, he wouldn't have missed a day of school.
No.
The other two, they would have been like, yeah, we're going to go, but
yeah. But yeah, so it just, it was tough. And of course you want, to be together in the same place. And little things, we both were feeling different things because he's feeling like, man, I'm not there. It's my son's senior year. I'm missing, things he's having. Like he was part of the broadcasting team. And so at the last football game for senior night, were you there that night? Okay. He came home. I thought you were there for that, but some things he got to get in town for and help, be there for those, but other things he missed. And I said, all the important stuff is in the spring. You'll get to be there for that. And he was at senior breakfast and honors day and of course graduation. But I know it was hard for him when you feel like, man, all this stuff is going on with my kids and I'm gone. Of course I'm feeling like all this stuff is going on with our kids and I'm here. There was stuff going on. We feel it 2 different ways. So I mean, there were plenty of like practices or games, like Tanner's little games where I'd sit and like FaceTime him just so he could watch practice or watch the game if he couldn't be there. Because it was harder during the season because of, how they work. But then when we rolled back around to the winter and the spring, we got to, see him more. And that was nice.
Yeah, I don't recommend it if you're not grounded in your marriage.
True.
It was tough, especially when you had a year or whatever we were in our marriage and thinking, okay, we ain't got to do that no more. We passed this. We started out in marriage doing this. We can't keep this going on 20, what we had. But that's kind of been. But you got to think about the kids and just them. And I know where Timothy was. Just. I want him to graduate from there, and of course, when you're in sports, if young people are in sports, they get involved in a team so much more quicker. And with this, he was in a lot of programs and different things. What do you call it?
A lot of clubs
and things of
stuff.
that nature. He was in a lot of stuff dealing with academia. That from that standpoint. But in sports, you go in the summertime and you're plugged right in. You start working out, training with him, and running and doing all this stuff, and real fast. And, in the stuff that he was involved in didn't have that type of connection. So I know that, for us, for me, it it was tough, but it was important to do that. And
Yeah.
it was hard. I mean, it was probably one of the hardest things I did. It was just because it was an extended time than what I was used to doing.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, that full length. So
Yeah.
you know, if you're to it, that's why I tell young people, you know, do you really want to go into this profession? And military, pastors, I mean, all those people who.
And I
have
tell
to
the
do those
ladies,
things,
do you
so.
really want to marry a coach, pastor, somebody in the military? Think long and hard and be very sure that that's who God is calling you to.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing. I
Because
found a good one.
their career is not just theirs,
That's
you know,
right.
it's yours.
That's it. That is it. That
And
is
that's a
it.
great lead into the fact that not only are you a husband, a father,
Yeah.
a coach, but you also are an ordained minister.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think I shared with you one time during our pre-interview that coaching is kind of like a lot like pastoring.
Mhm.
Yes.
So how does that play a major part in who you are as a husband and a coach?
Well, I think ultimately, you know, I think my wife said this last week. You know, you you have to remember your ministry is your marriage. Your first ministry is your marriage, and so you know, take it as that. And I think, you know, as a leader, no matter what you do, you know, I think, and you said it right. You know who you are. I think at the core of who we are as people, and you know, first of all, we got to make sure that we're truly followers of Christ, so that He can give us the direction that we need to go in every facet of life. So, so as a father, you know, I look at it and I say, okay, how am I as a father, as a coach? How am I in ministry? I mean, heck, even when I've served, no matter what title I may have had or have or what have you, I just want to make sure that I'm leading and serving the right way. And I definitely want to do all of that in my marriage too, that I'm serving and I'm leading in my marriage. And so at the core of my being and who I am and what I exemplify, you know, I think you said your mother put it hard, I was a hard worker, but I want to make sure that I'm someone who can bring a level of consistency, someone who that brings that day in and day out of being there for my children, my coaches, my players, and I'm a consistent individual, so I can help them become that as well. And I'll
We all read the same thing.
Wait, we hear your
Hold on,
story.
Tim. Hold on, Tim.
yeah, go ahead.
He just-
We
we reading Miss Minnie. Miss Minnie
Yeah.
come.
Oh my gosh.
Pack a lunch, but it's good every time.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Tim talking to me real serious, and we all trying to hold it in.
y'all looking at the comments.
Oh my.
She's not older than I am.
Oh,
But let me finish my point.
Let him finish his point.
Finish my point. Y'all get out. Y'all, I'm gonna turn this Facebook live off. All right.
don't turn it off.
So anyway,
Minnie on Zoom on three-way. Miss Minnie, we gonna put you on three-way.
yes. So the core being of who I am is
Go ahead, finish your point.
yeah.
We start our minister.
I think just trying to be a person of consistency and
That's
being
good.
a leader in all of those facets. And
Mhm.
I think, you know, as a person, you got to always look at yourself and say, you know, would I follow me? You know, would I follow me? You know,
Yeah.
I look at me, you know, would my wife follow me? Would my kids follow me? My players follow me? Would my coaches follow me? Would I follow me?
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, you know, I mean, ask yourself that, look yourself in the mirror. And that's when you can say, am I being a good husband, a good father, a good coach, a good pastor, a good this, or a good leader, a servant leader in church or what have you. So, you know, and for me, I mean, I can remember when we get to Mobile, when we joined Right Way, you know, the Lord told me, serve, just serve.
Mhm.
Serve. And I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that was. So I did security. I was outside most of the time. I did, you know, the Lord told me to come serve the man, serve his vision, you know, and just go serve.
Mhm.
And sometimes, you know, you never know where or what that looks like. But I think if you just continue to carry that servant leadership mentality, but also if you just, you know, be consistent in who you are, that's for me.
And you hear about so many coaches and pastors who are like these great people, huge churches, and their homes are in turmoil.
Yes.
Right.
You're thinking, whoa, I mean,
Right.
the first ministry at home.
Right.
You know, what's happening. And so I can say we follow him wherever he goes.
All right now.
That's literal too.
Literally. We follow him.
Literally.
And it's so funny that you make that statement, because and I shared this before in St. Joseph, that I don't want to be the hypocritical preacher.
That's right.
Where I'm
That's
at
right.
church preaching and doing all this, and people at church love me, but my children hate me. My wife can't stand me, because I'm not practicing what I preach.
That's
so
it.
Yeah,
I think I will follow me.
I follow you. So
She
I
does.
mean, and this is me. I would not follow you if I would not follow you if you weren't, because I'm just that type that I probably would stay home. And I do know of some first ladies who do not go to church. So
wow.
yeah.
And I was listening,
you know, because their husbands are different.
and I was listening to a preacher today. He was talking about he was married, how him and his wife was together, whatever. And he said that his wife said that whenever he goes out to preach, or that preacher comes in to preach, she always watches his wife.
Yes. Yeah.
She actually watches his wife.
Yeah.
The whole thing, and I watched. She said, and they had went to see one preacher, and the preacher had did really, really good. And the guy in the car that was leaving, and the wife said, "Oh, he ain't about nothing." She said, "How? But he gave a good word." She said, "His wife didn't move at all."
Wow.
His wife didn't move at all. She can't witness his own preaching, so he ain't about nothing. He ain't about nothing.
Wow.
That's when she began to share that she watches the preacher's wife, because if she ain't saying nothing, then he ain't saying nothing either.
That is so true.
He's not practicing what he's preaching.
Yeah.
So that's an awesome statement, that will I follow me.
I follow you. Cool. Yeah,
and it's a choice. And that's the thing about, we talk about submission. And even as Miss Kesha follows you literally wherever you go, submission to a wife to her husband is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You have to choose to submit to your husband. Anything outside of your choice becomes fear.
That's it.
I'm afraid not to submit, because if I don't submit, he gonna do this, he gonna do that. And it may not be physical abuse, but he may take away this or may not do this. Yeah. But when it comes to marriage, and same thing with husbands, you know, it's a give or take situation. We have to choose to love and honor our wives and be respectful to our wives.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's good.
For me, with Kesha and her, so followed me literally. And for me, I've never taken a job for pay ever. I've taken a job where I've taken a $50,000 pay cut, because I believe God has called me to this place. Mm-hmm. And I believe that, you know, even where I'm at today, I believe that we're called to be where we are. And I've never chased a career. I've always just been where I believe that God has placed me at. And it's just so happened to be in the sphere of college athletics. Mm-hmm. And so I think when I share that, my purpose and what I believe I'm supposed to do with Kesha, and you know, she trusts that. I think that helps me go fulfill what God's called me to do. But also when she does, she can share her story of her job that she was able to get, or her call that she has on her life too as a teacher. Yeah. But just the teaching spirit, I should say, not always science, but you know, there's you know, of how she was able to receive her job, because we came here and she got a job where she, you know, got called the same day she was just visiting.
I shared that
and had to go get some clothes on, and got hired like that. You know, and you know, it was the Lord just doing it. I don't think that you know, I know sometimes they said the enemy will bless you too, but I know that, I know in this case, you know, God he just had his footprint over it, and we just, you know, I was just going to trust him, and I didn't know all of what some things look like. You know, I think you know, some people talk about, you know, the opposite of fear is faith, but the opposite of faith is sight. You know, the opposite of faith is being able to see it, and we couldn't see it. So, you know, the opposite of faith is sight. We couldn't see it, but we believed it and knew that the Lord had put it in us to come right here for right now. So this is where we're at. This is where God has called us to be at. Me, my whole staff, they truly believe that we're called to be here right now at this time. And we talked about that today on our staff meeting, and that's what we're here to do. And we're here to pour into these young people's lives and the people that we've been blessed to be around and for them to be in our lives and to bless us too, as well with Kesha's school at Chapel Hill and elementary and then the community we're in. So,
but I will say it's not always that simple and easy to do. And I know I have struggled in the past with, okay, he has a calling, he has career opportunities, and he takes those and moves, and we just have to come along, you know. And I felt before like, okay, well, what about my career? What about my career moves, you know? And so like when we were in Birmingham, we were there for 7 years, and he was at UAB for 5 years, and he was at Sanford for 2 years before we moved to Mobile. And I taught at this school in Homewood, great little part of Birmingham. And I was at Edgewood Elementary, loved it. I taught 2nd grade for 6 years. And then while I was there, I got my master's degree, and my principal there, oh my gosh, love her. She was my mentor, one of my greatest professional mentors. And she, you know, would be in my classroom and she would say, I see administration all over you. And I was like, oh no, you know, my dream is always just to be a teacher and be in my classroom with my students and just, you know, teaching and decorating and just, you know, that's my dream. And she's like, no, I see you being an administrator too. And I was like, oh. And so when I kind of decided to go back and get my master's, you know, she really put that in my head, like maybe you should do something in administration, because then you still get your master's, but you have the option, if you want to go that route, you have it. So I did. I got it in instructional leadership. I got my administrative certification. And so she was really grooming me to become an administrator at that school. And so that last year we were in Birmingham, she hired me as the reading specialist at my school. I was so excited. It gave me kind of a bridge from the regular classroom into administration. So I would, you know, work with K through 5. I worked closely with the principal and assistant principal, with the teachers. I'd pull kids. I was in charge of reading data. I would have meetings with the teachers, and I loved it. And she had told me, she was like, all right, now the assistant principal is going to retire after next year, and we're going to move you into that position. And then you and I will work together for a year, and then you'll be up for becoming the principal here. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I had talked to the superintendent, and it was just kind of like, this is how it's going to go. And, you know, and then Tim was like, I'm gonna take this job at South Alabama.
Let me tell the story first.
Yeah.
Superintendent saw me at the school.
Oh.
Okay. He was like, can I tell my side? Can I tell my side? I just need people to understand that this is Homewood, and this is a school in Homewood.
Yes.
And
Wonderful.
Kesha, her name is Kesha. Okay, subliminal message.
Yes.
Exists
In
Homewood.
Homewood. That's all I'm gonna say. You guys put right in now, okay? Go ahead, Tom.
So when we got released at UAB, I was going to take a job in Utah, one of those jobs out there, and I was going to leave. But man, the Lord, said, "Be still," and so we stayed there. And when she took went ahead and decided to get your master's degree. At that time, I didn't even have a job. We was fired. Like, I didn't have a job. She was like, no, we need to wait and save that money. I said, no. We already prayed about this. You go get your degree. Something's going to come. I had no job at Sanford, nothing at the time.
Yeah.
We had nothing. And there was another time that I sowed a seed, sowed 3 seeds. And I had 3 job opportunities within that week.
Pause right there.
Amen,
Pause right there.
somebody. Go ahead.
Now we need you to, if you're watching us, you need to type in the comments seed offering. That's been the theme for tonight.
Let me type
He
in.
has sown a seed.
Let me type in
And
that
the
seed.
Lord has opened up a window of blessing.
I'm typing it right
seed
now.
offering. Seed offering.
I sowed 3 seeds and I had 3 job opportunities. This is God. This is the truth. And I ain't gonna make this up. Okay. I sold had three job opportunities.
Mhm.
But at the time I had nothing. I was supposed to go to the convention. My Jason Jones again, who's a good friend of mine, my roommate, he said, man, I'll pay for your room. I'll pay for you to come out here. Don't worry about it. If they ain't paying for it, I got you. Will they pay for your travel? Whatever it is, man, I got it. I'm gonna figure it out. I'll talk to my wife. We'll get it. I'll take care of it. I had no job, had nothing. No. I just had surgery. I'm walking around in a sling on I'm just had surgery on my shoulder. My wife started school. Don't want to start school because I ain't got no job. I said, baby, don't worry about it. Go get in school. All right, go ahead. But anyway.
Amen.
So, you didn't say anything about the superintendent.
Oh yeah, and then I finally take a job at Sanford, and I'm on campus, and I'm about to take the job at South Alabama, which my brother was on staff down there. I'll get back in the state retirement system. You know, I just believe the Lord was saying, go south. And so the superintendent comes up to me. He says, you messed up our plans.
He did.
And I said, Dr. Cleveland. I said, Dr. Cleveland.
They were so upset. They were like, he messed it up. I was like, I know.
It was probably one of the hardest things for me too, because I knew I had a grasp of, not of just the lay of the land, but just knowing that in Homewood and I told her, I said, if you ever get a place where you began and the Lord, you feel the Lord's doing that, then I'll follow. I don't have a problem with that.
That's what he says.
And if she would have stayed in Birmingham, and have done that, I'm sure we would have fixed it and worked it out. Mm-hmm. I would have been in Mobile. She would have been in Birmingham.
We would not have done that. We could barely do it.
That was
for a year in Atlanta.
Here.
No,
that was not happening. But I just wanted to share that to say, I know it's important to follow when it is God's will for your husband, for your family to follow, but it's not always just simple and easy. And I had a rough time because I felt like, listen, I've got things lined up for me here in my career, and now I've just got to let all of that go and move to Mobile. Yeah. And what am I going to do? And I was pregnant with Callie when we moved. I was 4 months pregnant. And I thought, well, I can't even get a job right now because I'm going to have to take a maternity leave in October. And so that was tough for me. And I'm telling you, I felt, when we first moved, I felt a little bit bitter, like, I guess I just have to do all the sacrificing in this thing and forget my career. I'll just get what I can get, where I can get it. Let's just go for wherever he needs to go. And I really had to talk to him we did talk about it. We argued about it a little bit. It was a little tense when we moved because I was not happy about it. But I also, in addition to talking to him about it, I just had to really pray and let God show me that, this is not just for him. This is for you. I know you had your plan in Birmingham of what you thought of, your path and how it should work out. But he had to show me that, these moves are not just for your husband. There's a purpose and plan for you too. And, just the people that I met in Mobile, I can't imagine not living there, and I did not want to go, but man, it was hard to leave when we left.
In Mobile.
Yes, absolutely.
We wouldn't be on this call right now. We wouldn't be on this call.
I'd be having this conversation right now.
The people that poured into our lives and who we were able to, pour into theirs, and just the lifelong relationships that we have established, they are some of my greatest friends that live in Mobile. And so I thought, okay, once again, that's where we were supposed to be. And so, and then it was hard to leave there, but I'm like, you know what? Everywhere you take us, God, I know there's a purpose for it. I know we're supposed to be there because I know that somebody's going to have an impact on us and we're going to have an impact on them. And we need to be there.
That's good.
And I'm glad you were, because I was going to ask that question, like, how is that for you just every time, it's time, okay, pack up, cut everything off what I got here and go be with mom, dad.
Yeah.
I mean, with husband.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that people understand that it wasn't always easy.
No, not at all. And we've kind of gone back and forth. Like, I wonder if it's easier to just stay somewhere for like a year or two and just move, or, and you think, oh, I've got to move again. Oh, now we have to move again. Or we've been places 4, 5 years or 7 years, and you really feel a part of the community. Like your children are part of it. You're in your church, your school, social organizations, and you really feel connected. Even doctors and just, your grocery stores, and you just know the area. And then it's like, okay, now I've got to go somewhere else and learn some, new doctors, new places, new schools, new church, So it is tough, but it makes you feel better when I know there's going to be something great here for us.
And some people would be very, very reserved and say, I'm not going to build relationships. I'm not going to do this. But we just kind of throw ourselves in it, and just say, what God is calling us to be and to do, be where our feet are. We're right where our feet are to be at. And we're going to dig in that place and that we're supposed to be at. Like she said, every place we've been, there's been something great at every stop. And that was tough. I mean, absolutely. To say, all right, come on, you come on, let's go. We're going to take you out of what, you're about to be elevated in a certain position, so to speak, elevated, whatever you're going to call it. But it was hard to do. I mean, I was willing to say, okay, you can't stay. But I was ultimately, as a husband, you don't want it to. I mean, who would want that? Obviously, I've done it too many times, but I'm very thankful.
I believe, Ms. Kesha, the Lord gonna have something great for you. You're gonna walk into a principalship. You're gonna interview for a teacher and offer the principalship.
Receive that. We receive it.
You're gonna walk in for a teacher. They're gonna offer you a principalship.
That's
like,
right.
You read your resume. You got the qualification. You want to be a principal. So retirement next year. You want to go ahead and be.
That's it.
Wow.
We believe in it.
Because I've been reading Joel chapter 2 and 25, 26 talk about the not saying that you have the locusts have eaten away years in your life, but it says and the Lord will restore unto you the years the locusts and the cankerworms have eaten away. Not saying that you have eaten away, but just opportunities that have you weren't able to possess.
Come on.
Because of other things that the Lord's He's going to restore all of that in His time, and it's gonna be a blessing.
I just gave that same scripture to one of my friends on yesterday.
Oh,
and I preached that yesterday.
Wow.
I preached that yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, so I believe that for you, because when you look at the sacrifices that you've made as a mother, as a wife, and as a professional teacher, that the Lord's gonna, He got a great plan for you, just like He has for Brother Tim now.
Yes, and I feel like He's also shown me so much more. Listen, my mother said this earlier. I've been teaching since I was 3, and I've always known
she said
that is what I'm supposed to do. I'm a teacher. That is my passion. That is my calling. But I feel like over the past few years, God has shown me so many more things that I'm supposed to do too. So I'm just trying to say, okay, Lord, whatever it is, even though sometimes I resist, like, I don't know about that, but I know there are other things that He wants me to do too. So
good.
Thank you all for joining us once again. It has been a true pleasure and a blessing to just share with you and hear your story. I know many people have been blessed by it. Anything you want to share with us before you go? Kind of hit on a lot of different subjects. Over the past 2 weeks we've been together.
Oh yes, it has been awesome. It has been awesome.
And I feel like Tim has been holding back this week. I just feel like he has been holding back this week because
after what I said,
somebody said he's long-winded.
He's long-winded.
They tried to cut it down.
I mean, but we need that, Tim. We need that. You need to be coach tonight.
You mean be free, coach?
Yeah. I try to make sure that I must have spoke a lot last time. Oh my God.
A couple of our friends said, wow, we didn't know Tim talked that much. I was like, he does.
Yes.
Well,
But it's okay. They said it was good.
We balance each other out. How about that?
Yes.
But I would say that that a lot of the things that we talked about tonight, just being on the same page. I think that no matter what you do, from training your children to saving to spending to sowing into people's life to sowing into ministry that you're going to be sowing into, to all those things, that just be on the same page. And I think that you'll go so much further as a couple. I believe that whether it's a single person out there or a married couple out there that are struggling, that are trying to figure it out and are trying to go to some direction, just try to go do it together. I think sometimes we talk about one thing that I always talk about, the word team. Together, effort, attitude moves mountains. Together, our efforts and our attitude, which is our mindset, will be able to move things that seem to be unmovable. If we can do that, together, it's nothing that can stop us. And I think one of our family devotion, doing a family devotion with us and our kids on a little app, and one of the songs on the deal is Unstoppable. How God is unstoppable, and if we're created in His image and in His likeness, and then we should be unstoppable as well. So why not be unstoppable as a couple? Why not be that God's created and called us to be? Why not look like Jesus, God and His bride? Let's exemplify that. And so I just encourage you to work on getting on the same page. You have to be intentional. It's not going to just come. And some people say, well, how do I go back and let her win sometimes? And maybe it ain't about winning. It's not about winning. It's about getting on the same page and getting yourself out of the way, your ego out of the way. I think sometimes we put ourselves in the way, and we lose out on a lot of things and a lot of opportunities because we got self in the way. And so I'm about to read the book, Ego is Enemy, but I try to make sure I don't put myself in the way. And I even tell my team, let's take ourselves off the schedule. Because if you're doing that and you're having to play against yourself, or you're having to go against yourself all the time, you're creating another opponent. So I'm just saying it in football terms or team term, but get yourself off of the schedule, get yourself out of the way, and say, man, am I truly doing this for us? Am I doing it for me? Because I think early in your marriage, a lot of times you feel like you're not getting this, you're not getting that, so you justify this or you justify that. He does this, he does that. So you try to make yourself seem right, but you ultimately at the end of the day, move yourself out of the way. Move you out of the way and say, you know what? All right, let me go and serve her today. Let me just try to make sure I'm pleasing her today and see what that look like. Even and not even expect anything in return. Don't even expect anything in return. At times, I just challenge some people to do it. Just do it and don't expect anything in return. Because when you do, sometimes you expect something in return and you don't get it.
Yes.
Right then, that's when sometimes some people give up. And that's a lot of what happened in our marriage. Some people give up, or some people say, okay, I'm just going to do that. So be what you said earlier. Be a person who decide to make the choice. It's because it is a choice. It's a choice. Be the person to make the right choice. And I challenge those that may be struggling in marriage right now, that is struggling, that may not be together. They're trying to decide, or whatever the case may be. Be intentional on making sure that you try to get on the same page. Because my thing is, if we go off the cliff, I guess we're gonna go off together. But we're gonna try to make sure we ain't going off no cliffs, right?
Right.
But we're gonna do it. We're gonna try our best. Yeah, we're gonna try our best to do it together. And because it's already tough enough when if she's going somewhere and I'm going somewhere and we're trying to take the family somewhere, it's just not gonna work. We're not gonna get there. It's gonna take us forever to get it done. So that would be my thing for tonight, is be on the same page. Well, how do you get on the same page? You got to communicate, talk about it. And sometimes some of the hard things to do as a married couple is just communicate and talk about it. Because sometimes you got to have some hard conversations, because we've had some hard ones. This is just the tip of this things we're talking about is just the tip of our marriage, and some things that we got that's going on or goes on in our marriage. So, but I hope there's just a little bit of just getting on the same page. And sometimes it's hard. And sometimes it may take a year to get on the same page. It may take a week, a day. It may take instant. Because ultimately sometimes we always think about us and what does it look like? What does it look like for me? You know, what's it look like for me? How do I feel? You know, and ultimately you got to get out your feelings and say what's the right thing.
And my word would be perspective, which I took from Pastor Vincent Robinson. That's been his word the past 2 Sundays. But, you know, we've heard so many stories during this quarantine time about people like, oh my gosh, I'm having to be with my husband or wife. And, you know, like people have filed for divorce over these past couple months because they're having to suddenly be together every day, all day. And they're like, I can't take this. I need to get away. I need a break. I don't like this. Or I've heard of engaged couples like, now I don't know if I want to marry this person because I'm in quarantine with them and I don't know if I can live with them now. But we have had the opposite. Like I was thinking about, man, if this was if outside was open and it was just normal time, he would be, you know, would have been recruiting. He would have had spring workouts, games, spring recruiting. He would have been gone. And I'm like, I love that my husband is here at home all day, every day since like March 13th. That has been like the best thing. And we were just saying the other night, I was like,
you had to be apart.
Right.
Yes, that's true. And that leads into Auntie Maxine, when she said she was reclaiming her time, we said we are reclaiming all of our time. And we have spent this quarantine reclaiming our time.
Amen.
It's been so nice. Just having
9 months.
Just, you know, just all the things we can, like, you know, just the shows we've watched and just being able just to have all this time together. And like, even this morning, I was like, okay, honey, have a great day at work. And he's like, bye. And he went downstairs to his office and I went over to my office and, you know, we just worked, but it's so nice. It's like, he's just right downstairs. I can still hear him, but it's just nice just having this time. And my perspective is, wow, of course, you know, we don't want to live with a pandemic, but look at the positive side of this time. Man, I have all my family here. I have all this extra time that this time last year I didn't have with my husband. So I'm enjoying it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's been great.
Miss Minnie.
Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. She said, well, if we go off the cliff, don't take her grands.
Grands. She said it while you were being serious. So Kesha and I held it together because we were trying to.
Right.
But it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Perspective and getting on the same page.
That's it. Perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Thanks again. You guys have really been a blessing. In just sharing with us and sharing with all of those who have watched.
Yes.
And if anything we can help and do for you guys in Douglasville, let us know.
That's
Just holla.
That's right.
Holla.
I am excited about what God is going to do through you two and your marriage ministry and your women's ministry and your men's ministry and you just being a coach. So I'm excited.
Upon both of you and your careers and your family and that you just prosper and get all that God has for you.
Yes.
Amen. Thank you.
We receive that.
Yes.
Before we go, Pastor Tim, you want to lead us in prayer and pray for all those who are watching us?
Come on, Bishop Bowens.
All right. Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for blessing us. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for giving us, Lord, insight, foresight, knowledge, and wisdom, just to be able to come together as husband and wife and be able to share with the Bells. Lord, we just pray for their family. We pray for every endeavor that you've placed upon their heart. We pray, dear Heavenly Father, you said in your word that you would give them desires of their heart. I pray that they are able to receive that. And I pray that an unbelievable great marriage is to come from what they're doing. Marriage is us also to come from what they're doing. Lord, we thank you for everyone that we viewed in tonight. I pray that we, as families, Lord, that you did what you said you were going to do, that you were going to be a blessing unto others, dear Heavenly Father, as we walk in your image and in your likeness. Lord, we just thank you for the day. We thank you for everyone. We pray that minds are renewed in marriages today. We pray that even in our transparencies, that others are able to see that through ups and downs, you're able to go through if you just do it together and you have the right perspective. We thank you. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you for watching. Join us on Facebook. Stay tuned. Tomorrow it'll be up on YouTube. So you can have all your family and friends to check it out on YouTube and on the Sound the Bells page, Sound the Bells channel.
Yes.
Thanks again, Facebook. We love you. And until next Monday, bye-bye.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.